Hey everyone, welcome to the discussion for Dark Souls, the card game. Now, to reinstate, if you watched my discussion and run through of the miniatures game, you know that I wasn't really a huge fan of it. I think it was a lot of bang for its buck. It only was successful because of the Dark Souls license behind it, but the actual gameplay was very shallow, repetitive, and boring, except for the boss fights, but no one could really enjoy those either because the rulebooks were awful. Well, so that's that. Now, how does this compare to the board game? Personally, I actually like this one quite a bit better than the board game. I think that it's very streamlined. It's quicker. It is repetitive in a sense, but not really, because as you go through these encounters, yeah, the spots you're going to are the same, and the number of enemies are going to be the same, but they're going to be different enemies versus. And it's just, oh, hey, okay, I'm going to flip a card. Yep, oh, that's going there. Oh, and this one, okay, that's going over there. And you just, that's how quickly it is to set up. You're not pulling miniatures out, trying to organize them all, then you're moving miniatures. Cards are going to stay there, and if they do move like the bosses do, it's just a quick boom, boom, and that's that. Everything is very much streamlined in this. Even with your actions. Now, I'm not saying the board game was difficult by any means. It really, I mean, that in terms of actual, understanding how to play. Like, your turns were also very simple, but here it's just so quick, and you get through these encounters very fast. It's just like, okay, well, this is what you're weak to, that's what your shield is, that's your damage, okay, let's just deal with that. And then you just kill them, and you get your souls, and then you get these stamina cards once you go and rest, and then you get some items, and then you just kind of do a little bit of deck building. Based off of who you want to be. The Knight, his starting deck of 28 cards deal a lot on strength and faith. And so you can keep going down that route, just buying cards that benefit that, and hopefully getting items that get you what you want. But most likely you're going to be drawing cards and be like, oh, that'll benefit me, so I'll use my souls to kind of get some intelligence, raise that a little bit so I can wield the weapon, and then kind of go from there and hope I get that combination. But it's really not bad. I actually kind of like this. It gives me that same feel that the board game gave, like I'm playing Dark Souls. And, I mean, granted, like, I'd rather play the video game versus any one of these. But, man, I'm not having to try and set up some bullshit fucking, oh man, here's all these boards, and let's get all these miniatures over there and then bring them on. Oh, it's going to be the exact same encounter as the last one. This is fun. Oh, I'm limited to the number of bonfires I get. Oh, and see, here's the thing that bugged me. Is like, and what I like about this, your souls are not spent on, like, leveling up your character. You're not sitting here like, oh, I'm glad there's a Morning Star. Oh, I need 38 intelligence, and it's like, oh, but we need to share souls so no one can ever really level up. And it's super expensive to do so anyway, but we don't get enough, so we just have to keep grinding over and over. And it takes 2 hours to even probably get to the first boss fight, and after that you're just like, fuck it, I don't want to continue anymore. Here, it's just like, oh, okay, I beat that, oh, I get 2 souls, and like I said, I played this with solo and also with another person at 2, because I think 3 or 4 is too much. I wouldn't enjoy it. But we got enough souls that it was like, oh, okay, well, let's, how about we, like, each get 1? It wasn't that bad, because all you spend souls on are these stamina cards. And they're super simple. Hey, do I want this one that gives me intel or faith? Or I want this one that gives me dex or intel? And there's no, like, argument on, well, I really need love so I can hopefully wield this weapon. There's none of that. There's no weird, stupid, non-thematic, hey, there's a stack of weapon cards that, we didn't get anything that benefits us, so we have to keep grinding. Nope, this one is just, okay, well, I guess I'll get some of these cards, and I'll, and as you rest, your bonfires, and this is another cool thing, whenever you do rest, it's not just, oh man, I'm almost about to lose. I mean, there's still that, but you get some benefits. Hey, when revealed, gain 1 common treasure. Okay, cool. So now, what do we get? Oh, a Sunlight Straight Sword, so that's pretty sweet. Who does that benefit? Especially if you're playing solo, it's just like, oh, yay, I get what I want. And then, oh, I can hold more cards. So most of the time, the souls you're going to get, and some of the treasures, you won't have to really deck build, It's not really going to be until later where you get more and more, items that you're like, okay, I need to pull out some of these single ones because they're not benefiting me at all, and I'll just replace them with the stronger, dual-powered, stamina cards, and then I'll fill in with these weapons. Like, it's so much quicker, and I thoroughly enjoy that. By the end of it, I had gold pine resin and a halberd and a bunch of dual stamina cards and a budding green blossom and a scimitar and my knight shields with a stone greatsword, a great sword of judgment that I at least got to use once. And a morning star and a parrying dagger and all these different weapons that you just get to use. Like, when you're looking at a weapon, it's not like, okay, I have to meet all these stats that cost me, 50 souls to be able to get to just to use one card. Nope. In this one, it's, oh, hey, I got a halberd. Okay, there's multiple options. It's, do I want this to stay in my hand and use potentially later, but it does less damage? It's like, okay, well, that costs 2 strength and a faith, but that does 3 damage, but I get it back. Or do I want to use a faith, a strength, and anything else that also has range, but it gets discarded? So how do I want to use this? Or the budding green blossom, which is discarded, that allows me to take 2 cards from my, it essentially heals me, but at least I get to pick what's coming back versus just, because it's whenever you heal, it's just the bottom of the discard pile goes to the bottom of your deck. And yeah, like, I think that this is what the Dark Souls game should have been, because the character development is super quick, super streamlined. There's nothing like, finicky about it. There's no arguing between players, and then it comes to the boss fights. So, which is a good point. Now, let me talk about the boss fights here versus the boss fights in the Dark Souls board game. They're virtually the exact same, except here it's a lot simpler. It's not you trying to figure out, okay, so how are they facing? Yeah, that's more thematic, and I guess kind of more to the video game, learning their pattern, unless they get heated up where they change up their attack. The exact same thing is here, except there's no movement facing. It's like, okay, so in the board game, we had to make sure that they were facing the right way, and that's how they would move. And then if we can anticipate it, we can get on their weak side, which will do more damage. And it's like, oh, okay, so how is this? So are they going to move like this? And okay, well, I don't really get it. Here, it's, oh, okay, the boss is here. High Lord Volnir is there. These are his hands. I flip over his card. That shows me where his hands go, and then I attack them. Like, I have to be in the right spot, and there can't be any enemies in front of it. If there are, I can't attack them unless I have range. And it's just, everything is just so much quicker, and really everything is better about this game, in my opinion. Except, obviously, there's like no variety. Like, so, those are all the things I liked about it. And things I don't like about the game is the rulebook is number 1. Steamforged Games needs to figure out how to actually write a cohesive rulebook instead of just putting shit together. It's like they had everything, and then they just kind of like the intern dropped the papers, and he's like, oh, I gotta get this to the printer, and he puts them just together, like they're all haphazardly strung, and he puts them together, and he folds it and staples them, and he's like, here's the rulebook, and you're like, oh, so there's deck basics, why is that not, but there's resting at a bonfire, but how do I even do that? Like, what's with the encounter setup? Exploration, why is resting at, it's like, they need to figure out who the hell, like, they need to fire the guy who makes rulebooks, because he obviously has no idea. Like, my Dark Souls board game, How to Play video, has so many, I'm not bragging, but has so many views because versus any other How to Play I've done, because no one knows how to play that goddamn game. Probably the same way here. Luckily, this game is simple enough that, like, even after playing it once, you'll be like, oh, okay, I'll remember. Because it's virtually super simple, which is a good thing. But man, that rulebook is just so stupid. So that's that. The other thing I don't really like is... man, there's really not like a whole lot I don't like about it. Like, nitpicky, there's not a whole lot of variety. like now that I've fought all 4 bosses, excuse me, it's like, okay, well, I don't really want to fight them again. I mean, maybe with more people, or maybe with like, hey, maybe I'll try a solo assassin thing. Like, they do have alternate modes of play, so technically these 2 are you're supposed to fight together, then you can flip it, and then there's the other 2 bosses, and those are how you're supposed to do it. But there's an alternate, which you can actually just do the slightly easier bosses, which are Vort and High Lord Volner, or harder bosses, the Abyss Watchers and Pontiff. You can mix and match on who you're fighting. Doesn't necessarily have to be the 2 on the board. And then you can kill yourself because you're yawning a lot. So, whenever it comes to that, there's just not a lot of variety. Now, if they plan on making expansions, I'll get them, because I enjoy this. It scratches that same itch. Let's see, what else don't I really like? I can't really think of anything. Like, oh, no, I don't like the fact that there's not really a lot of point to moving. It really more in solo, what I've noticed. Because in the other one, I was playing Herald, and my friend was playing the Knight. And so we had different ways and different strengths, to combat the weaknesses of the enemies. So we did kind of have to move around, but it was like, oh crap, you're in my way. If I want to attack him and just kill him outright instead of you not, we'll have to move, but I can't go in your spot, so we need to swap. And then now he's weak to my attack, so now I can kill him and bypass his defense. But other than that, it's just kind of like you can't move to really evade an attack. Like, there are cards like the parrying dagger, which I get rid of a dex card to just dodge all damage. And there's more cards like that in the game. Or I can do it to actually deal some damage. And there's another one, if I discard this and a dex and any other type of stamina, I'll dodge all damage and I'll inflict 1 damage on an attacker. So, stuff like that, but you don't really move, you just kind of stay in the same spot and dodge. But I don't really like the fact where it's like, oh, okay, they're going to hit here. It's like, I'm not there. Okay, yay, I missed. Nope, then there's somehow, even though they were going to hit here, they also can hit, 2 other spots. But why? That's just one regular slash attack. Why can they all of a sudden here? It's like, oh, but there's no one here. Well, then they change, and they're going to hit everyone up in this row with the highest threat. So it's like, someone's always going to get hit, and I understand why they did that. Otherwise, this game would be more complicated and probably super simple, because it's like, since the cards and enemies that come out are random, you have, like, the chances of them actually hitting you are slim to none. Like, right now, if I was in the middle, the Winged Corvin would hit down here. If that was all he hit, he would miss, and then the Hollow Man Servant would hit here. So it's like, okay, what's the point? Then I just come up and kill him. Okay, then I can see the fact that he's going to hit, so I'll just never go down there. I get it. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, it's just kind of weird. Like, they're always going to hit someone, regardless. Unless it's a full area attack, then it's like, oh, thank God, okay, we'll just stay away from there. But even then, you'll have to go to that side at some point, because they... Where is it? So I might have shuffled her back into the deck, but it was the witch. Maybe she was a level 2. But the witch attacked both these sides, and it's like, well, she's not going to move over to my spot, so I can't. I have to eventually move over here, and I can only move once, so crap, I'm going to take that damage, then I'm going to run up, and then I can eventually attack her. So it's just kind of like, movement's definitely slow. There's not a whole lot of cards in here that allow you to, like, double move. Because in the board game, you at least got to, like, sprint and get around the board, easily, even though there wasn't really a whole lot of point to that, because line of sight, it was just, you were almost always going to get hit anyway. But what I really like about this is that while the threat only comes into play whenever someone's not being targeted. Like, if I had another person down here in the Hollow Man survey, he would hit me. It's not like he just automatically goes to the highest threat, even though most of the time, if, like, we would always stay up on the front lines, so the Knight was always getting attacked, which is kind of a bummer. But it's not like in the board game where someone had, like, the threat token, like the aggro token or whatever, so they were just getting fucked the entire time, and at times they would get, like, double fucked. Here, it was a pretty good share, but that's why the Herald was really good, because I could heal. It's like, okay, well, use your ability to block some damage, and then I'll heal you, and we can work out that teamwork. I can only imagine with like 4 people, because then you only really have 2 free spaces, so it's kind of like that picture puzzle, where it's like, okay, I'm going to slide this up to slide this over and get the picture, because it's like, well, we really need to move, so I need to move here, and then on your turn, you'll have to swap spots, and then that'll be it. But you can't. You cannot move diagonal. Hell, I don't even know if the enemies can actually move diagonal. Like, the bosses are the only things that move around, versus because the enemies just stay in their spots. If you don't want to shell out all the money for the Dark Souls board game, which is outrageously expensive and ultimately kind of a waste of time and money, but you still want that Dark Souls thing, and Bloodborne didn't do it for you, because Bloodborne was basically a re-themed Cutthroat Caverns anyway. That one was just stupid. Bloodborne could have been this, but set in that universe and be really awesome. I'd rather have that. I'd rather have this be Bloodborne than Dark Souls, but if you still want that itch and you're a huge fan, definitely pick this one up, because it works fine solo, and it works fine with 2 people. I haven't tried it with 3 or 4. I don't really think it would work that well, because all it's doing, I mean, granted, yeah, I don't think it would work that well. So, I mean, and that's the thing, is you really just have to, is this going to work for you? Do you like the deck building thing? Personally, I like that deck is your health. I liked it in Pathfinder, the card game, and it's always given you like that sense of, that's like, oh crap, do I really want to use this for a more higher attack, but it's going to go in my discard pile? Or, it's like, crap, I didn't really get anything I want. Do I want to discard some of these to draw and hopefully get something that I can use these for? Because that's your life, and that's you getting tired. I originally liked the idea of the board game where it's like your health and your stamina met, then you died. But after playing it and after thinking on it, that's really fucking stupid too. Because it's like, why does my stamina equal my health as well? It's not like if you're playing the video game and you run out of stamina, you start eating away at your health. That's not a thing. You just can't, roll, or you can't attack as much. And it was so hard, and you got some stamina back. Just this is what it should have been. I do enjoy this. I just want more at this point. Like, more cards, and there are a variety, like heavy gems, a buckler partisan that has range 2, a sharp gem, which makes things like, hey, now it'll give it like a weakness, or give your next attack a weakness, so we can kind of vary it that way. A falchion, wolf knight armor, and then just a special, what do they call it? I don't remember what it was called, what these new ones are. Crystal soul spear, Katharina armor, where is it? Ugh. Armor of the Sun. So you have these unique ones. Instead of killing a boss and getting their set of armor to carry over, you just get a random one. But you take that with a grain of salt. And yeah, I mean that's pretty much all I can think of. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably give this a 7. 7 out of 10. If there's expansions coming out which add more, like they don't even have to add more of these. They can keep everything the same. You can just do small packs. Like even the monsters you don't really need. Just more bosses. Like more bosses would be really cool. Eventually, like with those bosses, you can add in some more treasures. That'd be a lot of fun. You can maybe do a better rulebook. But if they just if they support this like they do the Dark Souls board game, then this would be an 8 for me. But as of right now, it's kind of like it's very streamlined. Once you trudge through that rulebook, and it's not like finicky and makes no sense and long. Like this game is not long. It says 60 minutes. It's about right. And you're not punished just for resting. Like, you actually get bonuses for it. Yeah, 7 out of 10. Solid game for me. So, let me know what you think of this game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thanks so much for watching this, and if you like this video, then click the subscribe button below to enjoy any video that I put out. And right next to that subscribe button is a little bell. Click that so you get notified of whenever I actually upload these videos. If you want to support the channel, you can definitely visit my Patreon page. The link is in the description below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.